Isaac Yebet is not happy with Silvanus Osoro because amechelewa. But he's here. And we are also not happy with Silvanus Osoro because amechelewa. Silvanus, good morning.
Good morning. Apologies first. It's raining.
Yes. Apologize properly to the fixers who are watching. And
that is true. I mean, really, it wasn't intentional. The rain was too much this morning. I actually left home the same time I usually leave home and arrive in time at around 7 a.m. in the morning. But this time around it was different. There was a heavy traffic along Kiambu Road and Mudaiga. I hear some small accident or something.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, I've had to use and do this to get here.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Look at my shoe. Look at my shoe.
Yeah,
seriously.
Nikubaya.
Nikubaya huko nje. So apologies.
Yeah. All right. We accept that apology. Hope Isaac ataichukua. Si shingo upande ataichukua fully. But thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Now we had invited you so we talk about numbers, and numbers is a big conversation. Because Silvanus Osoro, you are an MP from Gusiiland. Nasikia Gusiiland ground imeenda. Wewe uko Kenya Kwanza, ground imeenda. Matiang'i is there this weekend. And many of the leaders in Gusii are aligning themselves with Fred Matiang'i and the United Opposition.
Starting
of the leaders, starting with the senators for Gusii, the senator for Nyamira. A number of members of parliament in Gusii, a member of parliament in Nyamira. There are some MCAs in Gusii, some MCAs in Nyamira,
That's a lie. Number one, Gusii is a very democratic place. Like, Gusii as a nation, as a people, we are very democratic. Looking at our voting patterns, except, say, for the 2002, when Nyachai vied for presidency, Gusii people have always been democratic. And for the record, we have all parties represented in Gusii in terms of the voting. When people vote and everything, you'll always get UDA, you'll get ODM, you'll get all those kind of things. And talking of numbers, by the way, like you said, all the leaders are aligned to Fred Matiang'i. That's a lie. In fact, in Gusii County, starting even from the MCAs, Gusii County has got about 69 MCAs. 45 elected because we've got 45 votes, and about 20 nominated. Fred Matiang'i has about 5 MCAs from Gusii County. All the rest are in the broad-based government. And I mean, I'll challenge him to mention the other if he has all the 65. Looking at the members of parliament, Gusii County has got 9 constituencies. Fred Matiang'i has got Anthony Kibagendi and Barongo. Those are only 2 MPs from Gusii out of 9. There are, of course, others, like 2 who are ish. They are neither here nor there. And the rest are with William Ruto. During the day and at night, I mean, openly. In Nyamira County, it's even worse, by the way. Nyamoko, Nyamira has got 4 constituencies. And the president has 2. He's got, the governor is ish. The senator is with Fred. And all the MCAs, it's actually worse. All the MCAs, and I mean all. I think there's 1. I think he has 1. Because he has Nyamira has got about 24 MCAs, elected and nominated. And Fred has about 1 or 2. Exactly, about 95% or so. But all said and done, it's his democratic right to declare interest to run the seat. I mean, there is nothing wrong, like having leaders or anything, or not having leaders. That shouldn't be the discussion. But what does he have to offer to the people? We've not had. I am yet to hear what Fred has to offer to the people.
Leadership.
All I hear is, we have to fix this nation. I used to be in charge of education.
Fixing the nation, by the way, is a very good campaign
what do you
message.
Fix? What are you fixing?
The nation.
Which nation? Like where? Tell us what you're fixing.
If you use education, he likes to use that as the,
I mean, be practical. Fix where? Because he brought the CBC and he left government having not employed teachers to take charge of that CBC. By the way, the Kenyan people should know this, and it's very practical. When you do the tabulation of all the teachers that are in Kenya, there are about 350,000 teachers who are in class today. Out of the 350,000 teachers who've ever been employed from 1963, when we got independence, to now, 2026, 100,000 teachers have been recruited under William Ruto regime. So in other words, cumulatively, under Moi, under Kibaki, under Uhuru, in all those regimes, in Moi's 24 years, in Kibaki's 10 years, in Uhuru's 10 years, they only employed 250,000 teachers, and that has always been the sum.
Sylvanus, don't amplify the numbers. Eh?
No. You know this. You know these things are scientific, and we need to be very practical.
Not scientific; they're just factual.
Exactly.
Okay.
Good. You've even put it right. They are factual.
So the number of teachers that have been employed in the last 2.5 years or 3 years is not 100,000.
How many are they?
Right?
How many are they?
It was 25,000. It was to be 75,000.
And then?
Right? It was to be.
We started first. No. You're wrong. We started with 75,000, and then last year December we added 25,000. In fact, this year we'll add another 50,000 for the record. Fine. Let's even go with your number. You say 75,000. Fine. Let's go with your number. In a single regime, 3 years post-election, just within 3 years, a government has been able to employ 75,000 teachers. Now, when Matiang'i talks about fixing the nation, how many teachers did he employ in 10 years as under Jubilee? I mean, what are you fixing? You brought this CBC, you didn't fix it. I even heard him yesterday, the other day, talking about,
in capitation funding, for example.
There has never been reduction of capitation. There has always, what we've always faced, whether under Uhuru and now,
yes, is the full amount not
delay of disbursement
and no
revision.
No,
also,
it is delay.
Here's the thing. This is under all regimes. It's 22,000 promised, 16, 17, 18,000
under what?
Sent.
Like
under all
said?
regimes.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm being fair.
Yeah.
However, there has been, there was the idea of now reducing the capitation from the 22 to the 18. That was under William Ruto. That is not under anyone else. 22,000 to 18. That's under an already struggling education system. This is not, by the way, to defend Fred Matiang'i's time as Minister for Education.
You've said
just
fast.
to also say that there are clear issues with education. So if someone says they're fixing, they do have grounds to fix.
What do they fix? Like the 3,000 difference or what? Like you said, under difference. All the regimes, there was.
Let's go into university. Higher funding. Right? The higher funding model has completely disoriented how we do higher education in Kenya. For a lot of young people, they are able to not either afford, whether it's because they have been placed in the wrong, not band even, whatever you want to call it.
Band.
So band, they are unable to afford their school fees for university, or they are unable to pursue the courses that they did want to pursue because they're just out of reach. I did want to pursue medicine. It's incredibly expensive, right? This idea of, government funds this part, I fund this part, has always been the case, but the way it's being done now is just unsustainable. You look again at ghost funding, ghost schools. I'm not saying it's a new problem, that it came in William Ruto's regime, but it is still a problem. We're looking at 11 billion shillings the other week, and so on and so forth. It's ghost schools, ghost learners, ghost everything. I'm not saying they are unique, but I am saying if someone comes in and says, I want to fix the education sector, they have grounds.
I hope that one day you'll actually invite him to also help us fix the Ruaraka land saga. Because there was also that equation of fixing the land, where you buy land that belongs to the public, and you pay a lot of money under his regime or under his watch. But let me get to your point. What people hate in this country is actually change. It is under the previous regimes that Egerton University was actually closing down. Moi University was going under the previous regimes. You know why? Because of really maintaining the status quo in terms of the funding and all those things that you're talking about. We don't want change. Everybody goes to the campaign and says, elect me, I'll bring up change. I'll raise this, I'll change the pattern of doing things. And immediately people actualize the change they promised. We again start saying, you need to go back to where we were. Why are you doing this? I mean, really, I have just been watching the debate that you had here with Abby. And everybody, actually, she was talking about change. But immediately you give them an opportunity and they try to fix things and change things, to change the normalcy of doing things, you'll again start saying, we were used to this. Let me be very practical, especially on the university funding model. Can you imagine that a parent is able to take a student to an academy, for example, and where they pay about 50,000 shillings per term. This child goes straight to some very good school, say Alliance or even Riara School, where they pay 70,000 per year. But when they are called to a university, say University of Nairobi, they say, hey, I'm only able to raise this amount of money, 16,000 shillings, let the government pay for this amount of money. Like, really, are we talking about change?
Sylvanus, that's
what then
incredibly
happens?
unfair, because we've sat down with those students, and again, a lot of these things can come from a good place. There are a few people who did come from privileged households and were essentially getting...
And that is why we have bans.
No, let me finish. There are a few people who did come from private schools or even schools where they were paying a lot in fees, and they did end up in higher education, and it was straining the system. That's fine. But the way the bans have been done has disadvantaged the good 80-90% of students who are essentially unable to afford higher education. They're being asked to pay a lot more than they're able to. So it's either they start delaying and they're like, you know what, I'll defer this year, I'll come back next year. Or they change courses. They say engineering, 6 years, my parents cannot hack. Medicine, 6 years at 120,000, my parents cannot hack. Let me go for something else. It's deferred dreams, it's deferred education for so many young people. So yeah, there were people who could have essentially afforded, in quote unquote, higher education. But those are a very small minority. So to use that like now as a blanket excuse
but that's
for
the
ban and how incredibly unfair it's been is really not right, if we're being honest.
That's what I've told you. That's why we have bans. There is ban one,
and I'm
there's
telling
ban
you,
two,
the bans
ban
are not
three,
working.
But
you
just said there are people...
And I've told you they were a minority. For the majority, the bans are not working. We did a micro ground with university
students. Are universities
students.
Closing down?
If they are not offering education that is accessible, that is of a good quality, that is attainable, then there's no need for them to stay open.
I put it to you that this is the best model of funding our education system. You see, let me
because we go to the ground, we speak to university students, we have had barazas with them. These are their pain points that I am putting forward to you. So we should dismiss that it's not working for them and say because the universities are open and
while I agree that there are challenges within that system, I mean, I call it teething problems. I must appreciate the fact that it's actually a win-win situation for both the universities. Here you want modern structures in the universities, but you are within the old nature of funding institutions. Like what used to be paid to universities from the exchequer in 1990 is the same thing that is being used in 2026. How practical is that? In the University of Nairobi, what change do you expect? Especially, it's impractical, and we need to move with times. And that is what we are saying.
The practicality is not locking people out of higher education.
Nobody is locking anybody. People have been placed in bans. And that is why, if today you take a stock of the students that are in universities, you will realize there are so many. But let me change a little bit on this discussion and tell you this. You see, people talk about government. And we are against, we really want to change things and everything. Government is the enemy. Let me put it to you today. Have you ever asked yourself that why any person that takes presidency or wins the presidency or any government that comes or takes place or rather takes charge of this country is ever hated whenever they are within power? And immediately they are out. All of them. Look at Moi. Look at Kibaki. Immediately he got into power. He even lost the Katiba something in 2005. Look at Uhuru. The way people are saying, Maliza Wende. There is no particular government that will ever come to power that people say, now we want this. Immediately they get into power, people start saying, hey, afadhali yule alikuwa. You know why? It's because people do not know. They think government is the enemy. Government is actually not the enemy. And this is actually economy 101. And I want to set the record straight today. Kenyan economy is about 17.6 trillion shillings in terms of the circulation within a year. 17.6 trillion. How much is the Kenyan budget? 4.2 trillion, roughly. At least by the last budget that we passed in Parliament, it's 4.2. What percentage is that? 24%. And by the way, this 4.2 trillion, we are not even able to raise it in taxes because we raised only 2.6 trillion. So that's about just 24%. So there is circulation of 17.6 trillion, but the only amount of money that the government is able to take in is 2.6 trillion. So who is controlling the 76 trillion out there? They are called the capitalists. And this is the discussion that we refuse to take. We all think that there is something called government that takes all our money, but there is a 76% capitalism in this country. Somebody holding about 3 trillion all by themselves, especially from the poor. And then they go out there and they tell the poor, and they even control by a remote. They tell the poor, this government is bad and everything. And anytime KRA has a party for their top revenue payers at Safari Park every year, you don't see those people you see in the street saying, our taxes have been eaten and everything. What do you see? You see very big companies, very, very big companies, who I call capitalists, who will milk you dry, but still make you think. And anytime we even go out and say, we need to raise these taxes for this company and this company, they'll incite you, the public, go out there and say, mumeongezewa tax. Yet that person, when mumeongezewa tax, has never, every year, he's never actually filed any tax return.
That's another false.
He filed zero. So my point
is, which is true? Are these the biggest taxpayers, or are they not paying taxes? Because you're saying these big corporates are the ones that are being lauded when KRA is awarding its biggest taxpayers.
No, I'm talking about the capitalism society that we live in.
Yes, we are in a capitalistic society.
Exactly.
It's a fact. It's
where
okay.
it's only 125 people that are holding money,
right,
against 50 million Kenyans. But you are made to believe it is the government that is holding money, which is a lie.
So I'm wondering.
I don't get the point here.
Me too, because you said government is not the enemy.
Government is actually a socialist way.
Yeah,
they pick the taxes from these capitalists to come and fix your roads. But whenever they raise the taxes, these capitalists tell you, niwe unaongezewa tax.
So you're saying the system,
and they tell you go to the streets.
That is why the system is rigged for the politician in government to fail. Or is that what you're saying? Because you're saying anybody who gets into parliament becomes unpopular immediately. As soon as
exactly. The system is actually rigged. And let me tell you this. Let me tell you. These capitalists even control this government or any government that may be in power forever. And this is not a preserve of only this country. It's all over. These are the guys that will milk you dry. Look, I'll be very practical, and I'd say this with tremendous respect to, in fact, without even mentioning names. Look at what happens. Like you have a phone, and you've been told there is, for example, something called Fuliza. There is something called this and this and this. How many people use such kind of things? Are the poor, and they are told you need to pay 20% or something. You don't even question. You pay, and yet you still sit here thinking the enemy is government. Me, Osoro, who doesn't really load the phone with 100 shillings airtime, I pay 5,000. Look at the rate that I talk to. I pay 5,000 a month with my phone, of course, for my airtime within a month. But the poor person in Mukuru buys 100 shillings credit, and the rate is different. Per minute, he talks, he uses more and finds himself using about 10,000 shillings, but still thinks the government is the enemy.
100% true. Who would be in a position to create policy or law that protects this Monanchi from being exploited by the capitalists?
No, it's not about the law. By the way, sometimes I was actually thinking last night before I even came here that God himself is even a capitalist. I mean, he owns everything, and we keep blaming the devil for everything. So there are so many things that we need to.
Nisawa, are you saying that this thing is too complex, even for you to represent the people of South America?
No. What I'm saying is this: the government what the government is doing is socialism.
Okay.
Pick these taxes from this person. Which people pay taxes, by the way? Is the middle class and the higher people.
Okay.
But which people do you see in the streets anytime things are raised?
Everybody pays taxes.
No. Let's be practical.
Everybody pays
when you
taxes.
talk about everybody paying taxes, you want to give me the very basic thing of saying, going to buy a bread and you pay duty of 2 shillings and everything.
It's 16% VAT.
Put that value,
2%.
Exactly, 16%. Put 2 shillings. I'm talking about sometimes, for example,
on
bread.
A loaf of bread.
Exactly.
Okay.
You pay 2 shillings or matchbox and everything. That aside, put it cumulatively and place it now on the highest paying, what is an economy? An economy is where 10 people come together, and they say 3 people pay, they say, we are now together. 3 people decide to contribute highest amount of money so that they can control all the 10 people. Then 2 people contribute something small. There is a 5 that don't contribute as much. But those are the biggest noisemakers.
It's equity in contribution.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, so what are you saying?
What I am saying is this.
Because we, the people, all of us, poor to wealthy, form government. And we form government and then we delegate our authority to people like you so they make sure that the government serves all of us. Then people like you then come back and tell us, by the way, hii kazi ni ngumu.
No, not that way. No, not that way. What I am telling people is, government is not your enemy.
Who's the enemy?
Government is your friend. Government is picking taxes from these capitalists.
Okay.
So that it can help you. Because in any case, in your 2 shillings loaf of bread, how much can you contribute in a year so that you construct that road?
Osoro.
Stop creating an imaginary enemy, because perpetual governments will forever come.
Osoro,
Yes.
I'll put it to you that the people don't consider government as enemy.
They do.
People just look at government and they see a government that is serving them or a government that is not serving them.
Serving them through where?
Leadership that is serving them, a leadership that is not serving them. When a leadership does not ensure that the children can go to school and stay in school, despite that being a job that the government ought to have. When a leadership, members of parliament included, does not ensure that we have security across board. When a leadership does that, people turn to the leadership and they say, this leadership has
That is
failed
true.
us.
That is true.
All right?
That is true.
We do not say that we do not want government.
Right.
We say, tokeni nyinyi wote, that's why we vote you out. We try to bring in other people who will serve
Good.
us.
Now you are getting my point.
Uh-huh.
What I am telling people is this.
That the ones that we vote out are not the problem.
No matter the change of government that you may have, within the society structure that we live in, under capitalists, that is what I started by saying, there has never been a popular government. Here you shout, you say, we need change. Immediately you bring those people, there is no change you see. Why? Those people that you bring in. Whenever you try to bring some bit of some change, they are captured by capitalists. And that is why it will be perpetual, by the way, unless we realize that the enemy is not the people you see in government. There has never, that is why presidents are popular immediately they exit government.
The problem then, if I just go push your argument to the nth state, is that the people who are campaigning to get into government already know that there's a system that captures.
No,
leaders.
some don't know.
Okay? And then when they get in there, instead of being truthful to the people, they hide. They mask themselves behind all these things. Instead of coming to tell the people, you know what, the problem that we have here is state capture, and this is how state capture is happening. Okay? So as long as you don't tell us the truth, you're the failures. As long as you don't go in there with the intention to changing and making sure that it works for the people, then you have been co-opted. You are as capitalist that you are.
I want to ask you, or bring this argument, a very silly argument. How much do we pay for example, and this I say again with the tremendous respect to that industry, how much do we pay for vehicle insurance, for example, per year? For example, if I like my car, one of my car, I pay about 300,000 per year. But I paid last year, I paid the previous year, and I paid the other year. I've never had a single accident. Where does this money go to?
And yeah,
So
you said you bring a silly argument.
exactly, it is completely silly argument, because that is now how capitalism works. It is a silly argument.
No, that is
What's
how
the point?
insurance
The point
works.
is this. The point is this. How then do you tell me when I get into power? How then do you tell me when I get into power?
Sylvanus, what's your point?
What is...
My point,
Land this point. Like, fine. If
And then
you
we go
have to
to-
take
what I am telling you is this.
one sentence.
And the
You can even use
government,
two
the
sentences.
government in power that you see is actually for you. The things they try to implement are actually for you.
Okay.
Stop being invited to wars that do not belong to you. For example, when a government goes to Githurai and demolishes all those roadside things, so that they prepare a way for implementing this planned expressway from Nairobi to Thika. It is to your advantage. When Kibaki was actually constructing the Thika superhighway, houses were demolished. And I remember people calling him General Kawoya then. You know, this Mzee is doing this and this and this. But today, people are celebrating. All these things you're being told, anytime you listen to a politician, stop imagining that, stop personalizing enmity. There is no government that lives, like it's something unique.
Osoro, I'll tell you, people are not personal.
They are.
No. People are just
I have been this politics. This is my second term in.
People are practical. Osoro, in 2013, people voted somebody in South Mugirango. All right?
Yes.
They felt that this person is not delivering. They looked for Osoro and they elevated him.
That is true.
To member of the National Assembly from County Assembly.
Yes.
Sindio?
Yes.
They looked at that and it was not personal. They gave you the job.
It is still personal, but they gave me the job.
Yeah, they gave you the job. They looked at you and saw this guy not delivering. They did not kill him. They did not beat him up. They just said, wewe toka. Osoro, kuja, fanya hii kazi. All right? In 2022, they felt like you are delivering. They told you, Osoro, endelea kufanya hii kazi. All right? When you stop delivering, they will just, Osoro, wewe kwenda, Mariam, kuja, fanya hii kazi.
Yeah.
Are you together?
Unfortunately, that's not how Kenyan politics works.
How does it work?
Kenyan politics is emotion-based. Is where people live in emotions. Like, they make decisions emotionally. And a story is given by Raphael Tuju. Having implemented even mobile clinics across Rarieda then, he was still ousted by his people. So Kenyan politics is not really issue-based. Kenyan politics is about emotions. Oh, huyu anatolewa SG, huyu ndio wetu.
So the people of South Mugirango, they made the decision based on emotion.
I'm talking about the general voter, or the Kenyan general voter, not necessarily in South Mugirango. By the way, it is true. There are only two reasons why people have voted. One, people have voted out of sympathy. Nobody should ever lie to you. Number two, people have voted out of protest. The day Kenyans will realize to vote people out of issues,
to vote in, not vote out.
To vote in, not imagining that let me vote out. Stop voting out for two reasons. And I can tell you the history. In 2002, Kibaki was actually voted out of protest. Like anything but not Moi. Imagining that there is a miracle somehow that will give manna to our houses. By 2005, they never wanted him. That's why they went against his Katiba. In 2013, Ruto were voted out of sympathy. I mean, let's not lie to each other. Like, they are going to Hague and start such kind of stories and everything. Even in the US, Obama was voted out of.
Final question. In 2027, you are a two-term person. Do you think it'll be out of sympathy, or the second one was?
Emotions.
Yeah.
Now, emotions vary. Emotions can be out of the actions. Emotions can be out of reactions. So in the two-term movement, actions will speak louder and they'll vote out of emotions. When a Kenyan voter in 2020 will wake up, we'll be seeing the person going to Western, seeing Rironi route, a road, a super highway done all through to Western, all those places. They'll wake up in the morning and vote emotionally, saying, I'll never leave this government because of this. Number two, when a Kenyan voter in 2027 will wake up and say, I have seen affordable houses all over, and I even own one, and I'm actually paying 3,000 for them. They'll wake up and vote for William.
Watu wa Rarieda hawakufanya hivyo. You've just told us, you just reminded us Tuju's story.
But I've told you, it depends on how. Exactly. It depends on how you go.
We're out of time, guys.
Enda nayo Rironi, enda Sugoi.
But I want to ask you a question. Who is this guy that wants to be president of this country, and your opposition leader is William Ruto, when you know very well that incumbency is never liked? Please.
Hi, Abbas. Tumalize hapo. We have to wrap up our conversation with South Mugirango MP and Majority Whip in the National Assembly. That is Silvanus Osoro. In the next hour, it is going to be Mwekali Mary in studio with her guests who are financial advisors at Prudential Kenya, and of course the head of development for independent agents. They're talking about how to build wealth and stay resilient, building financial confidence for every stage of your life. Thank you so much for sticking with us. It's been an amazing morning. We'll come back here 6 to 10 a.m. very ready for Tuesday. From myself, Mariam Bishar, Eric Latif, and Janet Mbogwa in absentia. Have an amazing one day.